Hi, I'm Chris McCoy. Welcome to the Memphis Flyer podcast. And look who we got. We got Shara the Shark Clark.
Hey, everybody.
Uh,
I made it.
you made it. Finally, she is the editor, capital E editor of the Memphis Flyer. And not just because you're the boss, we love you.
Thank you.
So
Appreciate that.
this week, we got one of our regularly scheduled specialty issues, which is the summer issue. And it's been kind of a rainy Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, so I guess it's a little hard to think about all the fun stuff we're going to do outside later, but there is a lot of fun to be had. And I think our crew did a pretty good job of rounding up some summer fun outdoor events like GPAC outdoor concerts, the Shell, of course. Don't forget about your dogs and take them to the Outback at Shelby Farms. Lots of fun stuff.
Mhm.
Um, I did want to mention I let my intrusive thoughts win this week for the title of the cover story. Originally Abigail had it as "Get Out" and with "side" in parentheses, so "Get Outside," and that was great. That was a great title,
Uh-huh.
but since I saw the first drafted pages, all I could think was "Go outside, nerd," which is from the Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah.
So people who've seen that will get it. People who haven't might be like, "Why are they calling us nerds?" Either way, it's fun. So
Well, that was exactly
we
what I
did
was
it.
about to talk about. Was that I love the headline.
Yeah. I let my intrusive thoughts win, but I was like, it might be better if we just go with that sweet baby Billy quote.
Yeah.
And everybody's gonna be like, "What? We're nerds. You're nerds, but we love you."
Yeah, it's okay. Nerds is endearing now.
It is, and I'm also a nerd and proud of it. So
Yeah, we all are.
yeah.
Punch it in. That's why we're here. But yeah, I wrote about so in these cover stories, the staff gets together. We figure out okay, what do you want to write about? You got like 300 words or something like that. And I wrote about hiking
Yeah.
because okay. Also, the other part of this assignment was we wanted to go outside.
Yeah, we kind of theme them usually, and this time it was let's go outside. So.
Yeah, and so I talked about hiking in the Mid-South, and which is something that I've always liked to hike, but the last few years I really have gotten into it more. And one of the reasons that I've gotten into it more is because I finally talked my wife into liking hiking. I mean, it's literally, we've been together for a long time, and it's just the last few years she's finally into it now.
Yeah.
And well, because we went to a film festival. She had this movie that she edited was in Cinequest in Palo Alto, California. And while we were there, we went to Big Sur and to the forest, the redwood forest up there. And so there's like a regular, the trail that everybody takes, that goes down and like in the middle of this canyon, kind of where there's trees everywhere. And we got out, and it was super crowded. There was people everywhere, and there was another trail that went up, and it was called the Canopy Trail, and it went up the hill a little bit, and then went. I mean, I was like, yeah, this is getting crowded. Let's go up here. Let's go up. And she was like, oh, that seems hard. And I was like, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And of course she's just wearing like tennis shoes, right? So I take her up on the hike, and it was hard, and she made it.
Yeah.
And had a great time. And the cool part about that was too, to me, like we were up there, and there was like a canyon below, but it just looked like the trees were like everywhere, just like a regular forest. But what you realized was it's like the trees on the right are like regular sized trees, and the trees on the left like go down 1,000 feet, and then go up another 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
And it was really great. So she got into that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does feel like a lot of work, but it's always worth it. And I just love being in nature. So.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And I think we need it more and more these days, especially.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Because folks like us, our job is staring at technology all day.
Yeah, we're behind the scenes people. Abigail actually sort of mentioned that in the intro jokingly, but we're print journalism people. We don't go outside, but we went outside for this.
I had some friends who used to work at Outside Magazine, And the joke in the editorial department at Outside Magazine was outside where we don't go.
Right. It's like, yeah.
But yeah, I think it turned out good. I think
Yeah.
I love doing these group ones.
They're fun. I like to hear everybody's different voices too. I love when we have a group effort like that. So
And they're different voices because we do have some great writers.
yeah, and very unique voices. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Which is we need. I mean,
Hmm.
that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
With the Alternative Weekly, because we are the alternative voice
Yeah.
in Memphis. Uh, the speak for the voiceless or whatever. That
Right.
that sounds pretentious when I say it, but that's what we want to do.
Yeah, we do.
And we want to keep like the cultural life of the city on life support
Right.
or whatever. But so you have been editor, capital E editor for like
Time is a funny thing, but I think it was 2022.
that seems right.
Um, I know that I've avoided any YouTube, digital news desk, everything for at least 3 years. So it's been about that long at least.
We've been chasing you for that
Yes, I
long.
am not an on-camera person, but we're gonna make it work.
No, you're doing great.
Thank you.
And listen, I love working for you, and you've been doing a great job as editor
Thank you.
too. But I think one of the reasons that you do such a good job is that you are so embedded in our culture because you've been with contemporary media for a little while, haven't you?
17 years. Yeah,
Wow.
17 years. I started as an intern while I was still in college at the University of Memphis, and I graduated during that internship. And by the end of the semester, contemporary media was no longer going to be paying interns. So I actually looked in the classifieds of the Memphis Flyer and saw that the Flyer was hiring salespeople. And so I was like, "Where's Penelope? How do I apply for this job? I want to stick around." Because I had been a fan of the Flyer since high school. I always made sure to pick one up every week at this little record shop, discotheque in South Haven. Um, and I just knew I want to work there. I just knew I was on the high school paper staff. And then I did pursue journalism in college. And I just always knew that the Flyer was the place I wanted to end up. I didn't necessarily expect to run the thing one day, but I kind of worked my way through a multiple departments, basically every department except the art department. So I've kind of learned the inner workings of every aspect of the paper. And, it helps that we have a really great and talented team. And y'all are all my friends. We've been working together for so long. It's just awesome. And I love my job. I love the Flyer. I love our staff and I love the city. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the city is. I always say this: Memphis is like your drunk uncle. you know, like I can talk bad about him, but if somebody else talks bad about him, I'm like,
No, no
no,
way. No.
we don't put up with that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, my sister moved to Fargo, North Dakota, which as far as I'm concerned doesn't even exist, but she says it does and she's lived there for over a year, so I guess I thought it was just that movie. But anyway, um yeah, but she even said I talked to her yesterday and she kind of people make comments, negative comments about Memphis, and she's never lived in Memphis. She lived in Mississippi before moving, but she said, things are always popping off down there. Like it's just so bad. And my uncle the other day commented on a Flyer post that said, the 69 interchange was the best thing that ever happened because now I can just drive right around Memphis and I don't even have to go through it. And I don't know why it bothers me when people say things like that. It's just like Memphis is, we've got a lot of there's a balance of dark and light, right? Like
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of bad, there's a lot of sad, there's a lot of gritty, but there's so much passion and perseverance and so much to learn from this city, I think. And people who haven't lived here and haven't experienced it just don't know. There's a lot of good to balance out the bad.
There is, and that's what I take inspiration from this job
Yeah.
too. Is meeting people who are trying
Right.
real hard and who believe in the city and believe in the people. And I think also when you say believe in the city, what we really mean is the people in this city.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I can be critical of the leadership. I can be critical of capital. I can be critical. Shoot, I can be critical of the left. I can be critical of us.
There's so much, yeah, that we could be, but
But people are trying. People
right.
are trying every day because they live here and they want to make it better. And there's a reason that they live here
Yeah.
too. And that's what I hope that we contribute to some tiny little little bit.
Right. Well, yeah, that's one thing that I especially loved during my 17 years. I also wrote for Memphis Magazine, our sister pub, for a little while, and I did a lot more feature writing in that position. And that was the part I loved the most about this job throughout the years is just getting to meet so many different people. You know, chefs, artists, club owners. I had one of my favorite interviews was Rayford a few years ago,
Oh yeah.
just getting to sit down and hear these people's stories who have made a difference in the city, who have chosen to stay here with their talents and make a difference. It's just, I love helping tell people's stories in that way. And I love that, that's our job.
Mm-hmm.
And there are bright spots and dark spots, but it's a gift for us to be able to do this, I think.
No, absolutely. I think I don't lose sight of how lucky I am, all the time. And it can be like any job, it can be hard, it can be discouraging, but I really try not to lose sight of how blessed we are to just be able to do this and bring people's stories,
Yeah.
out.
And we do the tough stuff, but we also have a lot of fun, and I hope people see that too. We're not uh, all serious, and we're not all fun and games. We're a good mix of both, and we hope that our readers like that.
Yeah, and it's an old formula
Yeah.
too, to be like cultural news and like and also like hard news both.
Mhm.
Like lead with the cultural news and then sneak the hard news in.
Yeah.
I mean, this is that's been, well, shoot, Village Voice, I guess. That's the alternative weekly, you know, uh, formula. I saw a discussion the other day because there's been a lot of discussion about like what happens with the media now,
Hmm.
and I saw a discussion the other day that somebody was like, what will fix this country is if we brought back alternative newspapers to all the major um, metros and staffed them up with 10 reporters. That would go a long way towards helping the information imbalance that is the huge problem I think that we have right now.
It is.
And I also want to bring up, while we're tooting our own horn here,
Okay.
I also want to bring up something because this is one of my hobby horses, for real. Propaganda is free. News costs money. That's why we have such an information problem in this country, because the people who are funding right wing misinformation and right wing propaganda, those outlets don't care if they make money or not, because they're there to spread an ideology and they're there to spread, and they're not doing news,
Yeah.
right? But the honest news outlets, um, they are all ad supported, like us, ad and subscription supported. And so that costs money. And if I'm already paying for my bandwidth, paying $100 a month or whatever, $1,200 a year to get the internet, then I feel entitled to that information because, because then you're asking people, I'm paying $100 a month or whatever, and then I'm going to pay a subscription on top of that. So people don't want to do it, right? Memphis Flyer is free. We have always been free. We will always be free. And this is also something that I talked about. We had Anna on. It's been Boss Month
Yeah.
here on the podcast because we had Anna Travers, our CEO, last week, and we
Yes.
talked about this a little bit. But I really want to emphasize it because we try to bring information as much as we can, with the staff and the resources that we have
Right.
to people, and we want to continue to make it free because we have a big audience of people who can't or won't afford news in any other way.
That's true.
And that, to me, I love doing that, and I love that, and I love doing that. I love that I especially, boy, we felt it during the pandemic, didn't we?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, we had to cut down our print, didn't we? We did every other week
We did
for a
every other
while.
week for
We
a
had to
while, yeah.
really cut a lot of corners, and in some ways, still are recovering from that. So we do I want to express my deep gratitude for all of our advertisers, especially the longtime advertisers that have been with the flyer forever. We couldn't do what we do without you. So I did want to squeeze in a thank you for that. There are so many um, who help us keep bringing y'all news over 30 years. I mean, 30 over 35 now.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Ooh, that's
yeah,
nuts.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's crazy.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
But during the pandemic, we were the print product was every other week for a while,
Hmm.
but our online audience just
Right. It grew.
absolutely like grew,
Hmm.
and we had this conversation. I distinctly remember having this conversation with you and Bruce Family Garden very early in the pandemic about like people are depending on us now for news, and because they were looking for somebody to tell them the truth.
Right.
And if we serve those people now during the pandemic, they will stick with us, and they have,
Yeah. And we provided all of that without a paywall.
without a
So
paywall.
I think that's really crucial too, because there is some very important reporting that there are multiple media outlets doing out there. But like you said, not everyone can afford a subscription. Not everyone can pay, for a magazine or a newspaper. And so for us to have that out there for free and online for free, I do think that makes a big difference. And getting important information out and the fun stuff.
Well, you've been a big, since you took over though, you've been a big advocate of like, you wanted to bring back News of the Weird,
Hmm.
which is this syndicated column that was a mainstay in alternative media for decades.
Yeah.
And we had dropped it, so just, I don't even remember, several years ago.
Hmm.
And it's back, and it's like the thing about News of the Weird that I love is that like it was such a pioneering thing. It's like
Right.
now everything is News of the Weird.
Right. It's all over the internet. That's all we see is news of the weird now. But that was a favorite. Like I said, in high school when I used to read the flyer, I always flipped to the news of the weird. The free will astrology horoscopes were always a favorite. So when I took
Well,
the helm, those were my first. I'm like, we have to find a way to get these back in here because I know there are a lot of longtime readers who miss that and occasionally would send emails and things. And I'm like, we can make this happen. And we did.
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That it's true. Yes, we would get like where's the, especially the astrology column.
Oh,
A lot of
yeah.
people were asking about that.
Yeah.
And I'm not an astrology guy, but I was like, oh, it's what's this guy's name?
Rob Bresney.
Bresney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's like the only astrologer that I've read regularly for
Right.
years. So it's like, you know, I'm I'm an Aries, so screw all y'all.
Yeah. I know that there are plenty of people out there who don't, or they don't care about horoscopes or even the metaphysical connection column that we've brought in, which I personally love.
Right, yes, yes.
It's not up everyone's alley, but I think there's an audience for that too. And again, I just think it's fun to have just a diverse kind of content in our paper. And yeah, the astrology has always been a favorite. While I'm thinking about it, and I do want to say this, there's a Facebook follower that we have. I've never met her personally, but she makes sure to give a laugh every single week on that free will astrology post when we post it on Facebook, because clearly she isn't a fan. But it's funny. Joanne Northern is her name, and bless her, she is on top. She's like our number one Facebook fan. She laughs at those, but loves everything else, and it's great. So thanks, Joanne.
Yeah, it's great. It's also great. Another great part about this job is to like find people who, read your stuff
And interact with it and everything. Yeah, because I don't know her, but I know her now because she interacts with a lot of our content, and it always gives me a chuckle to see that she's laughed at the
at
horoscopes
the
again.
horoscopes.
I'm like, there's a laugh. I know it's her, and that's fun. Whatever.
Because I mean, sometimes it feels like that we're screaming into the void here, and then you'll like have people walk up to you on the street and be like, "Oh man, are you?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, I read your stuff all the time,"
Right.
or like come up and have an opinion about something I wrote,
Hmm.
And for me, also as like a film and TV critic, for that aspect of my job too, like mostly it's people coming up and disagreeing with what I
Right.
said, but I'm like, that's fine. That's cool with me, because I feel like part of my job is to like, is to give things context and to start conversations,
Hmm.
and like this week I did I got a preview to the new season of Rick and Morty
Yeah.
this
I'm
week.
glad you did finally get that.
Yes,
A little trouble with it.
there was trouble. I ended up working all weekend, but it rained all
It did.
Memorial Day weekend, so it wasn't like we were going to get outside or do or whatever. Um, but yeah, I had a little trouble getting it getting into that, but finally when it worked, I was able to watch it. Also, I was sick all weekend
Yeah,
too. There's this
bummer.
crud going around.
Mm-hmm.
But and it was good. It's good. I was a big Rick and Morty fan originally
Yeah.
too. Did you
I've
like the
never
show?
seen it. So
Oh well.
to be honest, your review was a little confusing because I'm like, I have no idea what any of this is. But it's because I haven't watched the show. So when you start talking about
And
clones and multiple
and
Ricks and everything, I'm like, I don't know.
yeah, and we're 8 seasons in.
Yeah.
So it's
I
like
was surprised to see it was 8 seasons when you turned it over. I was like, 8? Really? I
yeah.
have missed the whole thing. And I've heard it's a great show. I just
It is a good show. It's like I think some of the super fans gave it a bad name online for a little while. But I don't know. Fandoms are just
yeah.
I've come to really in the last few years like think that there's fandoms are just like baby religions, and they act like that to the point of like they'll have jihads and and everything. I mean, you see it in the Harry Potter fandom. You used to see it all the time in the Harry Potter fandom. You see it certainly in the Star Wars fandoms, and even now to the romance, like romance fandoms and all that stuff. It's that's how I've come to see it,
Yeah.
really. But so yeah, if you've watched Rick and Morty, so that's the other thing. Okay, it's alienating for you because you don't know anything about
I
it,
don't know anything.
right?
About it.
I think if you're not already into Rick and Morty, this is not season 8 is not the place to start.
Yeah.
They're preaching to the choir right now, but it's still funny and it's still doing it's still doing what it's supposed to do. It's just now it's like South Park. Did you watch South Park? Did
Yeah.
you watch? Okay, so you know how like South Park was very fresh
Mhm.
and very edgy for several years, and then now it's like, oh, we're going back and visiting our old friends, kind of.
Right.
That's where Rick and Morty
There's
is
only
now.
so much you can do, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and at least South Park is more topical. It's always
Right.
had more topical humor, so you could they can always lean on that. But
Right.
but in this case, Rick and Morty is just crazy sci-fi crap, and which is, believe me, is straight up my alley as a nerd that never goes outside.
But you will do after this cover story because we have
so many great places to go outside.
to touch on something that you said about people coming up to you in public.
Yeah,
And no one does that to me, and you know why?
What?
Because they don't know
They don't know what you look
like. They've never seen me. So, yeah, I don't really have that experience. I think it happened once a few years ago when we had a kind of meet the flyer staff ads in the paper. But now I'm going to blow up. This is my debut. So that's
Hey,
it.
yeah, it's all over now.
Right.
Forget that privacy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, the thing when we first started the podcast, and I was like, oh my gosh, nobody's listening to this, nobody's seeing any of this, and then I literally had somebody walk up to me at an event and be like, oh God, I'm loving the podcast, and I was just like, thank you.
That's great.
Thank
but
you.
that scares me because now forever and ever you can see me potentially. I don't know. Do I sound smart? Do I look? I don't know what
You look fabulous.
It's going to be on YouTube forever. So
Yeah.
there we go. I've
Well-
just got to accept it and move on. I'll probably never watch this.
The internet is forever until it's not.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's true.
I know
All right.
everybody says the internet is forever, and then I worked for Live from Memphis for 4 years, and all that stuff is
It's
gone.
gone.
Yeah, so the internet's not really forever.
Yeah.
YouTube though, totally forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Well, I have now broken the YouTube ice, and thank you for pestering me forever and ever and ever until I finally said, I can't say no anymore.
Well, good, because you're gonna have to come back.
Okay. Well, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay, so now we're gonna sign off. For
Okay,
real.
we're signing off for real.
Yeah. This is the Memphis Flyer Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.